Welcome to Road to Recovery.
Hello and welcome to Road to Recovery with Sagi Shockhead. My name is Kevin Rosenquist, and today we are going to discuss compensation and your rights. Sagi, really good to see you again. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Last episode, we talked a lot about brain injuries. You gave us a lot of information about what to look for, what the symptoms are, things like that. So now let's talk about the legal side of things. What types of compensation can brain injury victims pursue?
So when someone's involved in a traumatic event, whether it's a crash, an incident where they hit their head or don't necessarily have to hit their head, the compensation can range depending on what state you're in. So some states have what's called caps on damages. Here in Florida, we do not have a cap on damages, but some states do on the amount of non-economics, which are pain and suffering type of damages. So it really will depend on the state. And again, the more severe the injury, the more the person is expected to get, because they do look at the injury and to determine, how much a person should get. And then also it depends on how did the crash occur, if it's a car accident, or if it's an incident, how did the incident occur? So it would really depend. I don't want to give like one specific answer, but if you do have a real brain injury case, those cases are worth a lot of money. Do not settle for less just because your attorney wants to burn and turn the file, or they have to meet their advertising budget and continue their advertising campaign. Those are real injuries. You deserve real compensation, not just fast burn and turn the file.
Burn and turn. I haven't heard that one. What is that? What is that? Just basically just whipping through something really fast?
Yeah. So what happens is attorneys have these budgets. Certain firms, you would say maybe a lot of the advertising firms, they have budgets where they have to close out a certain amount of cases per month so they can continue to pay their advertising fees and continue to get cases. The problem is, instead of treating it like this is a human being, they're treating it as a file, and they're not getting the max compensation that they should be. So there are people who love that. I would say the insurance companies love that because they know they can take advantage of those firms. Those firms are under tight crunch, to meet the budgets, or attorneys that work at those firms have to bring in a certain amount of money every month. Otherwise, they don't get their bonuses. So we don't do that over here. I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to get full justice for my clients, even if it means going to trial and not taking the insurance company lowball offers. They're going to have to pay full compensation to my clients. They're not going to get away with, flea market type of prices or type of settlements. We don't do that. I don't need to meet an advertising budget. We're not here to burn and turn a file really fast. While we do want to settle your cases quick, we do want to get you max compensation. And sometimes that does take time, and it does take a trial sometimes.
How does the law define economic versus non-economic damages in these cases?
Yeah, that's a great question. So economic damages, think about it like this. It's something that's easy to understand and an easy number to figure out. Person was making, we'll just say $100 a day, and they're not able to work for 10 days. They're entitled to $1,000. So that would be something like lost wages. Person incurred $50,000 in medical bills. That's easy. You pay them the $50,000 back in medical bills. So that would be economic damages, something that is a hard number and pretty easy to figure out. The non-economic damages, that's a little different. So it's not medical bills, it's not lost wages, and it's not loss of future earning capacity. The non-economic damages are the things that are harder to measure. For example, you have pain. There's physical pain, there's mental pain. Those two are different. And there's suffering. Suffering is different from pain, right? You may feel pain in your arm, but you're not suffering. But later on, it starts causing more problems, and then you're suffering. So pain is different than suffering. So you have physical pain, physical suffering, mental pain, physical suffering. You have mental anguish. So I'll give you an example. Someone is in a horrific wreck and they see a loved one get injured. That could be mental anguish, or they could have post-traumatic stress disorder. That's mental anguish. There is the aggravation of a pre-existing condition. So if someone has a bad back and they get, let's say, rear-ended by another crash or an incident, you don't get to say, hey, you had a bad back. We don't give you any any compensation or justice because you walked around with a bad back. That's not the way the law works. What the law says is you take the person as you find him. So if the person is, they use this example in law school, if you're like an egg where your shell cracks pretty easily, the other person's going to be on the hook. You take the person as you find them.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So non-economics are the intangibles, the pain, physical, mental, the mental and physical suffering, the mental anguish, the inconvenience, the loss, and the loss for the capacity of enjoyment of life. If they take away your ability to enjoy life, so this would be more with the brain injuries or serious type of injuries. We just met with a client today who's in a horrific wreck and is a double amputee. He's got serious loss of enjoyment of life. It's beyond sad to experience what he's experienced. Actually, he was doing nothing wrong. His vehicle was on the road. He was a passenger. It got a flat tire. He goes to the back of the car to get out the tire. And as he's getting out the tire, another car came in and smashed him into the vehicle he was getting out the tire. And within one day, lost both of his legs. When I say
holy cow.
Yeah, it's traumatic. So those things can happen. Unfortunately, things happen. And that's a really rough situation for him and his family.
What factors can influence the value of a brain injury claim?
So I would say to influence the value of a TBI, you would look at a couple of things. Let's say you're in a car collision case or a wreck. Obviously, if it's a wreck involving a scratch on a car, I don't think you should bring that case. Those are very difficult cases to prevail on. People, rightfully so, can look at the car and say, how can anyone get injured from that scratch on a car? So I would suggest, I always tell people when they call me with that, I'm like, don't make a claim with that type of property damage. It's not worth it. The insurance companies look at it. So when I worked for the insurance companies, they have measurements on all different types of, things that they look at. They measure pretty much everything. So they have metrics on everything. If the more damage to the car, the more likely that a person could get injured. Does that mean that that's true? It's probably true, but there are people who are involved in minor impacts and also get injured because not everybody's body's the same. So looking at the first thing I would say is the damage to the vehicle. The more significant damage, the easier time you're going to have to get compensation. Obviously, if the person goes immediately to the medical provider, whether it's through fire rescue, going to the hospital or the emergency room or urgent care, those are important things. If you're injured, I always say, and I think I said it in a couple of episodes, go get medical treatment, go get checked out. You never know what could happen if you don't get checked out. You never know what's going on inside the body, whether you can have internal bleeding. And it's always better to be examined and you have that little, I would say, get out of jail free card where, nothing's going to happen. Doesn't mean something can't happen, but it's less likely to happen. So I would say always get checked out. That's also on the insurance company list of things. They want to see you've gone immediately to medical treatment. So if you're in a crash and you're hurting, don't be like a macho man or someone who says, I can hold off, I'll wait. The longer you wait to go to treatment, the worse it is for your case. So if you waited, I had a friend, he was on the highway. He called me, he says, my back hurts. Should I go to the hospital? I'm like, look, if you're hurt, go to the doctor or the hospital. If you're not, don't waste time. There's no reason to go. He says, I'm hurting, but I can make it. So I'll last. He goes for about 2 months without going to the doctor. He feels pain, but there's no record of it. And so sure enough, 2 months later, he starts going to the doctor. The insurance company makes a big fuss about that. They call that a gap in treatment or a gap before he even starts treating. And they make it a central part of their case. Because in every case, we have to prove first who caused the crash. So let's say someone rear ends you, that's easy. But then we have to prove what they call causation. Are the injuries caused from this crash or are they caused from something in the past? And then if they're not caused from this crash, are they aggravated by this wreck or by something in the past? Now, the more time you wait to go to a medical provider, the worse it is for your case. So I would say, first things first, get immediate treatment. Again, you're not doing this for a case. You're doing this to make sure that you're okay. and then go see a medical provider, depending on what the hospital tells you. But again, if the hospital says you have a negative CT scan because you got concussed or you lost consciousness, does that mean you don't have a brain injury? No. It means you need to get checked out by specialists who are not in the hospital, because hospitals treat emergency situations. All the hospital is telling you, you no longer need to be in the hospital. So we talked about big damage to your car, going immediately to the ER or urgent care or doctor, not waiting too long to go to the doctor because it does impact your case. So I would say those are the three things that are important to do immediately. If you recognize you have damage to your car, if you're hurt, go to the doctor, go to the ER, go to the hospital. Don't wait. And then lastly, don't let too much time go by between treatment dates. Why do I say that? Insurance companies, they study these things. They're looking to ruin people's cases. That's what they do. They want to hurt you, so they know what are the triggers and what are not. If you're not going to treatment, you know what they say? You're not hurt. And then the flip side of it is if you're going to too much treatment, oh, he's going to too much treatment. You can't win with insurance companies. So I would say is if you're hurt, go to the doctor. Let the doctor know that you're hurt. Let the doctor know where your pain is. If you're having neck pain and back pain, mention both neck pain and back pain. Don't just say neck pain if you're also having back pain, because if you don't mention it and it's not in the medical record, they're going to come forward and say he never or she never mentioned back pain. Mm-hmm. Therefore, it's not from this crash. It's got to be from something else. They do this. I took classes when I was doing defense work. They teach you how to defend these cases and how to ruin people's lives. So I'm here to do the opposite and make sure you don't let them take advantage of you. So if you have questions, we're here to help you. We want to make sure you don't get taken advantage of by the insurance companies.
You've mentioned the timing a few times, like your friend who went 2 months and all that. Is there a statute of limitations when it comes to filing a claim, and how important is it to adhere to that?
Right. So a statute of limitations is a specific time period you're allowed to bring a lawsuit. So in Florida, the new statute of limitations starting in March of 2024, specifically March 24th of 2024, for automobile claims or motorcycle claims or truck claims is 2 years from the date of the crash.
Oh, so 2 years. Okay.
Yeah. If you don't bring it within that time period, you're really out of luck. There's nothing you can do. I mean, you could file the lawsuit after 2 years, but good luck to you. And if your lawyer hasn't filed the lawsuit during that 2-year period, if your crash occurred after March 24th of 2023 and that lawsuit's not filed by March 24th of 2025, you're going to be out of luck and you have a case against your lawyer for malpractice.
Oh,
so
wow.
2 years. 2 years is the hard deadline for automobile cases and medical malpractice cases. Medical malpractice is a little bit more detailed, and there are some nuances and exceptions.
When it comes to longer term stuff like ongoing medical care, rehabilitation, what can victims do to ensure that they're fully compensated for that as well?
So again, if you're injured or you have injuries, you're going to need to go to treatment, right? Because that's how you get better. If you're not going to treatment, then the insurance company says you're not doing what you're supposed to do to get better. So in order to ensure you get full compensation, you've got to go and make complaints about what's bothering you. Again, if you don't have injuries, don't waste your time.
Right.
But if you have injuries, go get medical care, get taken care of. And then if you have a lawyer that knows what they're doing, has substantial experience, not only just litigating cases, but actually going to trial. That's why it's important that you see a lawyer that's board certified, not just a desk adjuster, someone who just sits behind a desk and settles cases all day long. You want someone who actually litigates. I see this all the time, people settling cases for peanuts or a fraction of what the clients deserve. And I feel bad for the clients because if the case was litigated or if the case was handled by an attorney that has experience handling those types of cases and has gotten real good results, the clients would get good results. But if they don't and they go to just any old lawyer, they're going to get any old results. And that's bad for the clients. So make sure you do your research on your lawyers before you go hire them.
Sometimes, obviously, claims are going to get denied and sometimes they're going to be unfairly denied. What steps should someone take if they believe that their claim was unfairly denied?
So if your claim was unfairly denied, you really shouldn't take the case on your own. and you should look for a lawyer who can help you. So a lot of times the insurance companies, sometimes they rightfully deny cases, but a lot of times they wrongfully deny cases, or they take advantage of inexperienced lawyers or people who are not represented. If you're not represented, good luck. You're going to get taken advantage of. Or if you have a lawyer that doesn't know what they're doing, they're going to take advantage of them. And that's what they do. They hire lawyers that know what they're doing, who are trained, finding out everything about your case. They're going to open the book on you. And what I mean by that is they're going to get every record you've ever had, every medical record. And you may not tell them everything. And if you don't tell them everything and they find something, so for example, let's say you had 5 years ago back pain and you didn't tell the insurance company that, and they end up finding it, they're going to, go after you for fraud. So you really need to disclose everything. And the way they find this about you is they're going to seek your medical history from all the doctors you've ever been to. Then they go get your health insurance records. And your health insurance record has a log of every payment they've ever made. So that if you had 5 different health insurance companies, they're going to get the log of every payment ever made for the last 20 years. And then they start chasing it down and seeing, okay, they've been to this doctor. Let me get this doctor's records. They've been to that doctor. Let me get that doctor's records. Then they ask for the prescription log from the health insurance companies. And if you have Walgreens, Publix, CVS, or whatever company you're using, Walmart, they'll get those prescription records and make sure that they get all the doctors who prescribe those prescription medications. So there's no way around it. You're not going to hide. You have to be truthful. Tell the truth, let them know all your medical history, and then you don't have anything to worry about. But that's something that a lawyer should go through the process with. You don't file lawsuits till you have your history done on your client. The last thing you want to do is have your client, raise their hand, swear to tell the truth, and they misrepresent. Not because they're doing it on purpose, but who remembers each and everything that you told the doctor? You don't remember. People just don't remember. Unless you really have reviewed every single record you've ever had with a fine-tooth comb and memorized it, nobody remembers what they tell their doctor. And sometimes it's not even what you tell your doctor. It's what your doctor puts in the records. And maybe you didn't even say, and you don't even know. So keep that in mind. That's why you need an attorney that, again, been through the trenches, has been through trials, is board certified, who doesn't fall for those tricks of the trade that the defense and the insurance industry wants people to fall for.
Great advice as always. Well, thank you for joining us on Road to Recovery with Sagi Shaked. If you want to get in touch with Sagi, you can visit his website at shakedlaw.com. And of course, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Sagi, always great to see you. Thanks for all the information.
Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.